Didn't take us long to lose connection there, but good morning from St. Petersburg, Florida. It is August 2nd, 2014. It's 8:11 a.m. from St. Petersburg, Florida. We lost connection all of a sudden. That was different. Well, as you can see, the war is still going on. And they're supposed to be under a ceasefire, but I guess 2 hours into the ceasefire, they had a 72-hour ceasefire that was supposed to start at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning Eastern Time. And my guess it didn't last but 2 hours, and Hamas started firing rockets. So from what I could see and what I've read this morning so far, Israel hasn't continued bombing, but they are going in and taking out all these thousands of tunnels. And still what Hamas wants is Israel to lift the blockade, which, I mean, realistically, that can't happen. Little interruption there, but no big problem. To lift the blockade, for Israel to lift the blockade, and it's just my opinion. I've been siding with Israel all along. I'll continue to side with Israel, and that can bring you all kinds of threats on the internet. Not too much in real life. People aren't as eager to threaten you in real life as they are on the internet. And most of the people doing the threatening are, they're youngsters, little kids, haven't quite met their direction in life yet, and they just want to voice their opinion with, just speaking with their emotions, not really having much experience in life. That's pretty much all you can do. So, you can get threats on the internet. I've had, my address and full name posted in the Democracy Now! Chat, which, I guess that's supposed to be a threat. I don't, I wasn't threatened by it. My address and real name. I had another site that I used to post my artwork and photographs with my real name and a photograph of me. And so I don't quite know what the plan for that was. Also, eventually I will have an online store which will have my home address and my real name, because you got to know who to send the money to. So I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but I think because they fear that sort of thing, they think other people would fear that, and that just goes to show you how immature a lot of people on the internet are, and what you would have to deal with if you're on the internet like I am all the time voicing your opinion. And I live in the United States of America, and I've been watching this since the first day, and I've sided with with Israel before this. I'll always side with Israel, um, just because I feel that it's their right to defend themselves. I also feel that they were there first. I also feel that the people of Gaza live on a reservation, and that as much as they would like to think it's their land, it's not. Um, I haven't. I can't quite understand, as Arab type people, why other Arab nations aren't attacking Israel. I can't figure out why Egypt hasn't taken them in, and why their borders are closed to these people, because they're terrorists. They think because they have children that they're not terrorists anymore, but the world remembers them strapping bombs to kids. The world remembers them strapping bombs to old ladies and their wives. Yeah, there might be some innocent people in Gaza, but them people need to take up arms against the people who are getting them killed, not against the people who are killing them. You know, if the people of Gaza would stand up against Hamas and the kinds of people like Hamas, like I understand that the ISIS will be coming in to help Hamas, well, that's who Hamas aligns itself with. And this ISIS is spreading itself kind of thin because it can't fight Israel and in Iraq and around the world. They're just a little group of disgruntled people. And it doesn't have anything to do with land as much as people would like to think. It has to do with some people do not want any Jews left on the planet, and they're going to do anything to get them out. And the people of Gaza are just I say Gaza is a Trojan horse. It's a reservation, but it's a Trojan horse. And they're trying to make the people of Gaza look like the Trojan horse. While they hide inside and around the people of Gaza, it's just exactly like a Trojan horse. But it's not made out of wood. And it's not on wheels. And it's not a gift to Israel. Them are the things that this Trojan horse is not. But it is a Trojan horse. They are hiding behind what they're saying are innocent people. And, it's always been that way, that, you could do whatever you want, but until the gun is pointed at your head and you know the trigger's going to be pulled, the only thing left to do is beg for your life or pray to Allah. But the trigger still gets pulled because Israel knows that if it doesn't pull the trigger will be at their head one day. And that's what the Nazis did. The Jews sat back and waited. And waited and waited for God to save them. 6 million Jews died in concentration camps. Not to mention the other people that the Nazis were killing who waited. But they were smaller groups. But still, this just didn't happen in a moment. The Nazis just didn't swoop down and take 6 million people in a moment and put them in them camps. It took years. What the Jews were waiting for at that time, I have no idea. They never, as a group, they never struck me as a dumb people. That, that they were able to see the future. But you're not going to pray your way out of this sort of thing. Either side. The innocent people, if there are innocent people in Gaza, cannot pray their way out of this. Did they know about these thousands of tunnels in Gaza? Did just Hamas dig these thousands of tunnels in Gaza? Thousands. Nice ones, concreted, Not real wide, but 6 feet tall and 2 feet wide, concrete, for a mile. Do you know how long it would take to build something like that? And nobody know? To build thousands of them and nobody know anything about it? Oh, we know nothing. They're liars. And Israel knows it. And the world knows it. And that's why this is happening. Israel has been complaining about this for a very long time. Israel will not let happen to Israel what's happening to the people of Gaza. But this would happen to Israel if Israel was a mild-mannered people waiting for God to come and save them. They tried that. They tried it thousands of years ago and it didn't work. They tried it during World War II and it didn't work. They're not going to let it happen again. Does that sound cruel? No crueler than if these were Jewish people. This is a war. Somebody's going to lose a war. Somebody's going to die in a war. Children die in a war. Old people die in the war. Women die in the war. Gaza is a young civilization, if you want to call them that. But it's being rumored that they're anywhere from 50 to 60% 18 and under. Some reports 50% 15 and under. Them could be the same report and it would make sense. But in any case, they're young kids. Are there 18-year-olds on the Israeli side going to fight? Yes, there is. You could be 17 and fight for the United States. The young do the fighting. They're able to run across these fields. Do they want to kill? Some of them do. Some of them, they haven't lived long enough to understand any kind of empathy or have sympathy for human life. They aren't old enough. Some of them just haven't developed and haven't had that kind of brutality in their lives. But both sides in this conflict understand that they're facing extinction. If Israel stands down, if Israel drops the blockades, and they have, it's not like this has always been like this. Nobody is asking why are the blockades there originally. Not just to separate Gaza from Israel, but to separate the terrorists who live in Gaza from Israel. That's what it's about. And you're going to get people calling Israel the terrorist. Well, look at what Israel is doing. That's exactly what terrorists do. Well, I always say if somebody punches you in the face, beat them till they can't get up. Because if they get up, they're going to punch you in the face again. You've got to make sure they do not get up in the real world. And the internet, it's just a game. It's no more than a video game, talking points, entertainment, whatever you want to call it. But in real life, and that's what Israel deals with, real life, not opinions. That's why the United States isn't doing anything other than talking. And, as much as I hate it, being on the same side as a Republican, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm stuck with. The Republicans feel the same way I do about this. Israel has a right to defend itself. The Republicans, just sent Israel, I think, $272 million in aid to help with the Iron Dome. The United States is doing that for a reason. And that's because the United States knows that if it doesn't, Israel stands to become extinct by terrorists. And then after they've got Israel gone, what next? Yeah, you could say, that's all in your head, They told us that about Vietnam. It's a domino theory. That if Vietnam falls, all of those countries around there are going to start falling. Well, is that what happened when Vietnam fell? Did all the other countries start falling? Right now, Vietnam is one of the strongest economic countries, growing economic countries in the world. That's where Vietnam went. You don't get like that with being the way that they wanted them to be, communists. China is one of the few communist countries left, but it doesn't act like a communist country. It's like the American Jew who is out there saying that they don't want to join the military in Israel, but I want to be a Jew. But I'm not going to fight. I mean, I'm just a Jew. I'm not going to fight for Israel. Come on, give me a break. That's what they're saying. That's what communists are doing today. I'm a communist, but, I'll sell you this. Communists are supposed to give everything away. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to sell stuff and profit. Only dirty, filthy capitalists are supposed to do that, but everybody in the world does it. I seen a thing this morning on one of the live streamers talking about, um, I guess he's moving, or I don't know. I didn't get all of the story, but apparently he's getting rid of his possessions. And somebody emailed him and said that they would take away for free, some of his stuff, but not furniture or trash. And he thought he was cute and clever, and he wrote back to him and he said, no. If there's anything good, I'll be giving it away because, I'm some kind of pacifist, anarchist pacifist or something. And I think profiting is disgusting. Well, what a hypocrite. What a total hypocrite. He'll ask you to donate to him. He'll ask you to give him money. But if somebody wants to take away your junk that you no longer want, and they sell it and make money on it because it cost them money to come and take it away, I mean, you really have to be some kind of prima donna to think that that's wrong. And that you're going to decide. Obviously, you can't decide shit. You're getting kicked out of wherever you're at. You can't pay your rent. You can't survive in this society. So anybody who tries to survive in this society is wrong for wanting to make $1 off of what you're getting ready to give away to somebody else, people of your choosing, so that you could be a prima donna. It's ridiculous. Stupid. And you just want to act like you're some kind of hero, but you're soon to not have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out. But you want to act like you know what the world should do. You can't survive, so you hate everybody who can. That's what's going on here. Unless there's water wells that you can dig in Gaza to get your water, the water has to come from Israel. I don't see any freshwater lakes in Gaza anywhere. I don't see the people who managed Gaza for all of these years managing Gaza. I don't see that happening. I don't see them doing anything. I see them getting aid from around the world. I see them doing that, sticking their hand out, taking aid like that streamer wants to do. Give it to me and I'll take it. But I'm not going to give it to you so you can sell it, because that's capitalism. Well, what does he think he's doing? Well, when he does it, it's okay because he does it the right way. He gets people to donate to him because he thinks he's a Jesus type. He's a fool. That's what he is. And that's why he's about to be homeless. And that's why he's about to live in his car. And that's why he hates people who survive. Instead of working hard and selling his stuff, he's going to make it look like he's some kind of a Jesus person. And he's going to give it away to people who are less fortunate. He's less fortunate. He is where he thinks people are. He wants to give to the poor and he is poor. That don't make any sense. But, that's what he wants to do. He wants to have the God complex and give his stuff away. And he's about to lose where he lives. Instead of trying to sell his stuff and making some money and trying to live in his place a little longer till he can get a grip elsewhere, he's going to say, no, I don't want anybody making any money on my stuff because I can't, you can't, because that's just plain evil. No, that's plain stupidity. That's what that is. And it's the same thing in Gaza. These people want to pray to God to save them from Israel when their problem is Hamas. That's their problem. But you can't get them to see that because it's not to their benefit to see that. So they won't see it. They won't see who the bad guys are because it doesn't benefit them to see who the bad guys are. They get 3 times the amount of aid from world organizations than Israel does. But everybody complains about the aid that Israel gets from the United States. And I imagine other countries like, the United Kingdom and Germany and France and places like that kick in a little cash to Israel. I don't know how Israel makes its money other than aid. Does Israel have oil? I don't know. I don't know what Israel has. What does Gaza have? Everybody's saying that they're fighting over uh, the potential that's in, I guess it's the Black Sea there, that you can go dig for oil in the Black Sea there, whatever that water is there, that you can go and find oil, and that belongs to Gaza. Well, that's nonsense. They're in a blockade. Is that stuff only there where the blockade is and belongs to Gaza? How could it belong to Gaza when Gaza belongs to Israel? It all belongs to Israel. Some people want to make Gaza a state. That isn't what Hamas wants. Hamas doesn't care if Israel is a state. Hamas doesn't care if Gaza becomes a state. Hamas doesn't want a state. Hamas wants to do like some of these ignorant people that don't want anybody to own anything. Only God owns it, and God only talks to us. That's always struck me as kind of odd. How God owns everything, but God tells me to tell you what to do. I mean, you can only talk to God through me. Anybody who believes that deserves what they get. And for the Gazan people, they need to learn the history of the Jew. This is what happens to you when you don't fight back and you don't fight the right people. If you want to hate the Jews, pick up arms and side with Hamas. If you want to quit dying by the hand of the Jew, pick up arms and fight Hamas. Because you only have two real choices. The world isn't going to step in. The world would sit down and say, come on, you guys, let's try to get along here. A bunch of innocent kids are dying. The world will say that. But other than that, that's about the end of it. Aid can't even get into Gaza now. Israel said, we'll give you 3 days to try to get your power up and running. What happens? In 2 hours, Hamas fires at Israel. Now, if Israel says, see what they did? See what they do? You'll have the nutcases saying, well, what do you expect them to do? They're blockaded. They don't have nothing. Well, Israel said, okay, we're going to stop bombing you and give you a chance to get on your feet, which I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't give them a chance to get on their feet. I wouldn't give them a chance to become stronger. But, Israel is trying to be humane. Israel doesn't want to do this. But they're being forced to. And once they're forced to, then, they can't just stop. They were hated before this. They'll be hated after this, to the same degree. It's not like before this they only just didn't like Jews. Before this they wanted all Jews dead. They wanted all Americans dead. We just want to live on our land. That's all we want. We don't want borders. It's not their land. But now after this, what? Do they want Jews even more dead? How can you get more dead? You can't. They just want you dead. They want your family dead. They want your memory and any books about you wiped out. They want their way around the world. And the world is saying, we don't think so. The poison is here in Gaza, and it's time to take care of it. If the world don't see these babies on camera, will Hamas be as emboldened as they are? If the media stops showing people running around in Gaza carrying their dead babies, would Hamas be as emboldened as they are? Because that's what they're depending on. They're depending on somebody getting the story out, live streamers like myself, rebroadcasters like myself and others that are rebroadcasting this stuff and have been for the past 25 days or so, rebroadcasting it every day. They're depending on that. They're depending on us showing this. So, do we stop showing it? Will Hamas be weakened? I think so. I think they will be weakened. But I think it's just as important to show it. This is history. No matter how you cut it, whether it's good or bad, it's history. Showing those starving people in the concentration camps in Germany, that wasn't pretty, but it was history. Showing their golden teeth being pulled out and made into jewelry, that wasn't pretty, but it was history. Talking about their skin being taken off their bodies and made into lampshades, that wasn't pretty, but it was history. And that's what's happening here. 50, 60 years from now, the kids will look at this and they'll say never again, or they'll say nothing's changed. Nothing has changed in my life. I'm 61 years old. Nothing has changed. They can kill each other better. They can protect themselves better. But the same people are fighting each other. Nothing has changed. And I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. Because nothing has changed. I still drink coffee. I still get up every day. I still do what I do, as all of us do. This war is an opinion war to the rest of the world. It's not a get involved war. It's an opinion. If you feel that the people of Gaza are innocent in this, and you want to have your opinion, you got your opinion. But you ain't going to pick up a rifle and go fight whoever you think is right. You're not going to pick up a rifle and say, okay, well, I think that the people of Gaza are right, so therefore I'm going to put my life on the line and I am going to fight and kill as many Jews as I can. You're not going to pick up a rifle and say Hamas has to go. Hamas is doing this. Go to Gaza and fight. So you're going to have an opinion. You're going to protest in the streets of New York or London or any other place, Iran. I don't think there's much room to protest in Iraq without getting your ass shot. And that's the way Iraq rolls. But in a country that is semi-free or totally free, like the United States, where you can protest, yeah, voice your opinion. But it isn't going to make a damn bit of difference. Because both sides are fighting for their lives. Do you think they care that you protest in New York, 1,000, 10,000 people across the world protest? Do you think that is going to save their lives? It's not. The only thing that's going to save their lives is to pick up arms and fight against whoever they think the enemy is. If you feel that Israel is your enemy, pick up arms and fight them. If you feel Hamas is getting you killed, pick up arms and fight them. But waiting for Allah, that's a big mistake. Israel has been in love with its God for a very long time, long before Allah. Israel had the God they have. They ain't waiting for God to come and save them. They did that. It didn't work. Somewhere in the Bible it must say to the Jewish people, hey, you got to do more than pray. You can't just sit around and pray and bump your head up against the wall. You can't do that. Defend yourself, or you'll see me sooner than you want to. We're all here just a short amount of time. You'll meet your maker soon enough if there's a maker. But while you're here, hey, you still have to hoe the garden. You still have to do a lot of things, and defending yourself. That's the most important thing you'll ever do in your whole life, throughout your whole life. Defend yourself. If you feel your enemy is getting stronger, and they're your enemy. They're not just somebody you don't like. They're your enemy. If you feel they're getting stronger, prepare yourself for moving away from them, or prepare yourself to fight. Israel is making its last stand. The people of Gaza, this isn't their last stand. They can filter their way anywhere in the world. Some might say, so can Israel. No, Israel can't. Israel has been to everywhere in the world. This is where they settled. This is where they decided to fight. This is their last stand. They lose here, and it's it. That's it. There is no more Jewish culture. They will assimilate into all the other cultures of the world. Jews are everywhere. There's black Jews, white Jews, yellow Jews, red Jews. Jews are everywhere. A lot of them don't have anything to do with Israel. A lot of Americans have never been to Israel, and they're Jews. That's just the way that this world works. There's a lot of people that worship Allah that'll never go to Gaza. Gaza is just a reservation. It's not a holy place or, something that people feel has to survive. There's mosques there. There's terrorists there, and I imagine there's some peaceful people. I don't think that there's innocent people there. And it wouldn't be the first time that somebody said, well, you got a black heart, there's something wrong with your thinking. Well, it's kind of like capitalists. You got to buy and sell and trade, and that's the way things work. If you're going to sit around and expect people you're going to give your stuff away and then expect once you've given everything away that people are going to care about you and take care of you, take you in. They will for a little while, until you do something wrong or you do something they don't like, and then they kick you out. Getting back to that streamer that thinks that if he gives something to somebody and somebody profits for him, that's disgusting. Well, he's just a total idiot. And the thing is that that's why he's in the position he's in. If he carries that thinking into the working world, and he's still of working age, if he carries that thinking, he's getting old. He's not a young man. We're not talking about a young man here. We're talking about an old man who should know better, who has in my opinion, a God complex. He thinks that everybody should give everything away. He thinks people should share. And I think you have to have something to share. If somebody says, I'll take that, if you're getting rid of it, I'll take that, it's none of your business what they do with it after they take it. You want to dictate what people do with something you give them? What kind of person is that? What kind of person gives somebody something and then turns around and tries to tell them how they should handle it? You couldn't handle it anymore. You couldn't maintain it, so you're getting rid of it. And then now that you can't, you're in a position where you have to get rid of your possessions, you want to tell somebody else how to deal with what used to be your property. That's what's happening in Gaza. Gaza doesn't belong to the people of Gaza. Because if it did, they wouldn't be in this position. They get 3 times the aid of Israel, and what do they do with it? They dig tunnels, thousands of tunnels. 1.3 million people, approximately, 1.8 million people maybe, in Gaza, minus 1,300. And you don't know about these tunnels. And if you did, you stood silent. They said, well, these tunnels were to bring medicine in. You get 3 times the amount of aid. Where's the medicine? Where's the money? What happened to it? I think they say Israel gets like $3 billion a year from the United States. That means that the people of Gaza, which is way smaller than Israel proper, is getting $9 to $10 billion a year. I think somebody said all of Israel's the size of Pennsylvania. Gaza isn't very big to get $10 billion in aid every year. And what do they do with it? They build tunnels and buy rockets to destroy Israel. And then they say, we don't have no medicine. We don't have no food. We don't have no water. We don't have nothing. $10 billion in aid every year from the world. And they build tunnels and buy rockets to kill Israel. And then they say, well, we want to be able to fish. We want to be able to go out into the ocean and fish. Well, they used to be able to, till they start finding them coming back with rockets. They said, that's it for that. Got to block that. Something was happening on the Egyptian border. They were bringing in rockets. So they closed the border at Egypt. They say it's an open prison. Yep. Yes, it is. It's an open prison. Israel is not going to take down the blockade. They'd be foolish to do that. Foolish. The United States is continuing to support Israel. I mean, there's something wrong with that picture. One of the most powerful, if not the most powerful nation in the world is supporting Israel. Why? Because people will say, well, because the United States is they're terrorists. I mean, them are just foolish words of children and ignorant, hateful adults. Some people just grow old. They never grow up. Like that streamer. I'm stuck on that streamer because I just read it this morning. And he is constantly saying stupid things like telling people not to vote because it doesn't make a difference. Telling people not to pay taxes because he didn't pay his taxes and now he's in trouble with the IRS. So he wants everybody around him to be as bad off as he is so he can feel better. That's pretty selfish. And it even shows because he thinks he's so cute saying, well, you know, I wasn't going to give my stuff to these people so they could make some money on it. Well, he was too stupid to make any money on it. I mean, everybody falls on hard times. You know, there's been a lot of people who couldn't pay their rent and had to do something to survive. You know, sell off your stuff if you can. If your stuff is worth anything. Sometimes your stuff ain't worth shit. It's value to you, but it ain't worth shit. It's fool's gold. Your stuff is fool's gold. And you can't get rid of it. So somebody who is smarter than you, better connected than you, says, I'll take your junk because I think I can make some money on it. Well, that's the world we live in. Not his world, not the world that he wants, but it's the world we live in. And then you go to Gaza, and they take all of their money and waste it. I've seen some nice buildings, some nice places in Gaza that weren't being bombed yet. Why hasn't Hamas launched rockets from them areas? Maybe them were the people that says, don't you bring that shit in here. Because if you do, me and you are going to fight. And they're strong people. So Hamas goes into the ghettos of Gaza. The people who believe what Hamas is doing and says, yeah, good idea. Kill them Jews. Kill as many as you can. And then it got a lot worse than they thought it would ever get. Or maybe they knew it was going to get this bad. Just figured, hey, I've had it. I'm ready to meet Allah. Whatever they think. But I know one thing. You'd have to be pretty damn stupid to think that Israel is going to stop because you hold out your baby. After hearing that Hamas doesn't care if they kill Jewish babies. The Jewish people care, so they build a defense system. What does Gaza do? They build tunnels and buy rockets. When this first started, I asked where did the rockets come from? Well, it turns out there is a little rocket factory there in Gaza somewhere. I heard they destroyed one. But, Hamas is like a bug. Maybe not all tunnels lead to Israel. I half imagine that one day we're going to see Gaza just sink because they put so many damn tunnels under there that they weakened everything. And Gaza is just going to be like something out of the Bible, and it's just going to sink. I mean, there can't be a solid building in Gaza after all this bombing. You can't tunnel all over, underneath, and all around a city and expect for them foundations of them buildings to be strong. As you could see, they don't build them very high. They can't. There's nothing solid. It's just tunnels, thousands of tunnels, even at 1 foot by 6 foot. Thousands of tunnels. They don't just put them next to each other, they're everywhere. They're going into Egypt. And then the other 3 boundaries of Israel, they're going into Israel. And nobody knows about it. Nobody. It's like I was saying the other day, when you cops go into a gang territory where the citizens, are living in terror. Something happens and nobody knows what happened. I didn't see anything, even if they seen the whole thing. But they'll complain about the gangs. Do something about these gangs. Well, when they go in and try to do something about them gangs, you side with the gangs. It just seems like there's no winning these kind of conflicts. Because the people who try to fix them become the bad guys. And the people who want them fixed are too afraid to stand up. I mean, if you're in a place where you're going to die no matter what you do, then do what you want to do. Pick a side. You're either against Israel or you're with Israel. Pick a side. But now Israel can't trust anybody. Israel doesn't want you on their side. They just want you off their back. I mean, here in the United States, somebody will be in a gang for, 10 years, 20 years maybe. And then says, okay, I don't want to be in that gang no more. I'm going to get jumped out. They jump them in and jump them out. It's really it's just the way they do it. You get beat in and they beat you up for 60 seconds or something like that. And it's the same when you want to leave. Or some of them are blood in, blood out. Once you're in, you can't get out. Some of them are that hardcore. And, if you think, well, they'll just kill me. No, they don't just kill you. They kill your family, your cousins, your wives' cousins. They make it very clear. Just like in North Korea, they had that general who was selling drugs or something, and they caught up with him, and they killed him. And when they were done with him, they went to kill his family and his family's family. I mean, they went and wiped out some people, wiped out everything, his memory totally. If you were related to him and you knew he was caught and you didn't leave, try to get out of there somehow or go into hiding somewhere, you were going to be killed. That was your choice. That's what I imagine is happening in Gaza. That they're terrorized. by this group. And to show you the insanity of this group, they're going to start shooting rockets at Israel, knowing damn good and well what's going to happen. But expect that the world is going to get involved and stop this madness. But what they do isn't mad. It's okay to shoot rockets at Israel. I heard one guy say the other day, I was watching the news, and he says it's like somebody picks you with a needle and you beat them with a hammer. Yep, don't be picking me with that needle. Because if you think I'm just going to pull out a needle and pick you back, you've got this whole picture wrong. Israel has always said, you kill one of ours, we'll kill thousands of yours. They're standing up to it. Which means that Gaza owes them quite a few people. Last I heard, over 50-something troops, Israeli troops, have been killed. But when they get killed, it's okay. But somebody in Gaza gets killed, they're martyrs, they've been murdered. That's the word game. That doesn't work anymore. Insults don't work anymore. They used to. But we are becoming less and less civilized. Debates, there's no limit to a debate. We become less civilized. Words, they don't mean nothing. They don't mean nothing. And life only means something when it's yours. If you have to take someone else's life to save yours or your family, them are your choices. At least that's their choice. A little bit different here in the United States. But that part of the world has always been fighting with itself, and I view it's always going to be fighting with itself. Israel doesn't have any choice but to do what it's doing, and it's obviously prepared to do what it's doing. Again, it's my opinion that Gaza is a reservation. And if you want to call it an open prison, okay. But when they had a chance to leave, they didn't, and now they don't have a chance to leave. Nobody wants them. Nobody trusts them. That's the problem. This has been going on for a long time. It's going to continue to go on. So, I'm Art Stars, and that was just my opinion.